shittiest days of my life. Oh, right. So we are leaving China and heading to Japan. I am finishing up the takeout I got from yesterday's Lazy Dragon steam shop. I did not taste any of them until the very last day it got in Beijing. This is the day that I feel like my trip was really starting, and that made me so nervous and anxious about my next step. I ended up making a humongous mistake, and that cost me the next 3 days of my trip. I might talk about it in another video. Just every time I think about this, give me a heart attack. Peking Airport is the favorite one I flew yet. It is so bright and spacious, exactly how Chinese want their guests to feel. Like the owner got the money and that culture. From about 6 years ago, they started to do this explosive tests before letting you in the airport. China is also the only country that I've seen does security screening at a subway station. They will x-ray your bags. This time I did not take any public transportation, so I wouldn't be able to show you. Since the Xinjiang riot in 2009 and few that shortly followed, government paid great attention to domestic terrorism, especially in major cities. Majority of Chinese are well protected from separation powers and therefore not aware of these incidents that might provoke racism. The Hong Kong protests from 2019 came out as a total shocker for a lot of Chinese. Before, Hong Kong was just considered a special district, being given lots of privileges and thrilled to be out of a colony status and back to the motherland. Personally, I did not aware of the terrorist attack and how that led to the ban of Facebook and Twitter until I started to spend majority of my time outside of China. It really takes stepping outside a loop for you to see things as a whole. If that's what you want to do, then I highly recommend you don't travel with anyone that's within your same comfort zone. That way you just keep reinforcing the same stereotype. Instead, engage in some seemingly provocative conversation with the locals. Take on a brand new perspective. That's how you do a transformational trip. The first class lounge and business class lounge are located on opposite side of the wings level. Both are accessible through PPS, I believe. So I was gonna use that card to use the first class, even though I got a business class. And that's where I realized I forgot my fucking wallet.
海关申报单，一家人可以填写一张，请用英文或者日文字母进行填写。持有日本护照以外。
因为太小了吗？
对。
The shittiest days of my life.
Yes.
Literally. My friend spent a day in Tokyo by herself already. I am just meeting up with her for about 7-8 days of traveling together. Somehow we ended up going to 7-Eleven. I realized I've only been to 7-Eleven in Japan, US, and China. Obviously, Japanese one is the best. You can even book a concert ticket there. The one in China is not bad and it's pretty expensive. The one in US, I don't think I need to say more. There's only one thing on my itinerary for that day was going to a restaurant. I found it through the site Tabelog. If you want to be a foodie in Japan and really go to the places locals find, I will highly recommend this site. They don't use Yelp, they just use this one. I mean, I feel like Yelp is really only for American. So this is the Japanese version. If you can't read that, you can use their English version. It's just gonna be a simplified version of it. There are also like Chinese, and I'm sure there are other languages as well. What I think is good about it, you can see like interior, exterior, and those things for sure. I think this restaurant I went to. It looks the same. I pay a lot of attention to interior design. I just feel like once I see what it looks like inside, I will have a good idea if it tastes good or not, which is a joke, but like I'm just superficial in that way. You can also check for, well, some restaurant you can book online, but the more exclusive ones you do have to call. And a lot of these restaurants, well, at least like most restaurant that I've been to in Japan, will require like advance reservation, sometimes months in advance. So do pay attention to that. And what I'm like looking at here, that one is saying that it can take reservation and whether or not it will take credit card. 我就是觉得很有意思。
好呀。哦，这是条很有意思的街呀。
但
哎呀，有钱在手就不愁了。
你现在是在
读研。
那你之前去深圳是在干嘛？
什么？
你之前去深圳是在做什么？
哦，我之前实习，我在深圳和上海都实习过。
こっち。
啊。
No credit card accepted. Okay, great. I couldn't 能够写了 credit card 不能。
僕は店舗こっちでやってます。2店舗あるんですけど。
不是在日本，我可不往里进，我可不敢往里进。
之前你去吃的是那一家吗？
这主道有点偏的一条街。
月岛是个小吃街，
是主要就是吃蚊子烧的，这都是蚊子烧。
哎，这算深夜食堂吗？
但这家店只开到10点多就结束了，有的店可以开到凌晨，就是2点钟。
它这个开到11点的。
这样我是抱歉。Our first stop and also the first meal that we are going to get for this year's trip to Japan is at this shop that's serving monja. Monja, by the name, it means characters. The story goes in Edo period, some general try to use this to communicate, like send a code to other people. So they use like a liquefied flour to draw like some characters. Don't know how true that story is, but I think it's the most commonly accepted version. And so I chose this shop because like we need to go to the airport next day at 5 a.m. So this area is relatively closer to the airport. This dish itself is not like commonly seen in anywhere other than Tokyo, not let alone like overseas. So a thing that's like very similar to this one, konomiyaki, which is originated from Osaka. If to compare it with this one, that one would be like a building with more bricks, and this one would be like more cement. I don't know how good that analogy is, but you get it. So that one, it would be better to like do like a takeout because it's just like a fried pancake. But this thing is like very liquefied. You gotta have to have it in shop. So yeah, this is my third time having okonomiyaki. I've heard of it because I watched this video of like two voice actors and they went to a shop in Tsukishima. So the way that I'm cooking it right now, it's just what I have learned from that video. I don't know how like authentic this is, but you know. Since I started working and have to go to restaurants with my colleague, I realized that a lot of Americans don't like the idea that they have to cook the food themselves at restaurants. Well, I sort of get it because you have to pay additional for everything, like your service fee, smile, the servicing fee, the package fee, the tax, the this and that. Well, in most part of the world, you don't pay extra for anything, but they all go with the menu's price. That's especially true in Asia, and people enjoy cooking the food themselves. It adds to the experience. This is certainly true, like in China and Japan, where we cook like hot pot and barbecue and stuff like that. But I don't think it's true in Korea. Come pick me. 觉得挺好的，平常就是接触到了一些名字或者地方就想去，然后真的去。号在哪里？2号在那里。